Right, now let's look at example 3, page 93. The question asks you to find dy over by dx when x is equivalent to pi over by 2 and when y equivalent to pi. For this equation, x sine y minus by y cosine 2x equivalent to 2x. So the first thing what you have to do is write it down where you have to differentiate both sides with respect to x. Okay, so you have these two things, your left hand side and your right hand side. Now let's do one by one. Now let's look at the first term. So the first term having x sine y. Now this is actually a product of x multiplied by sine y. So you have to use a product rule. Now let's do this together. Do you still remember the product rule formula? If you have u v prime, what you're going to have is u prime v plus by v prime u. Okay. Differentiate x, you will have equivalent to 1. Alright. Multiply by the v, just simply multiply by sine y. Okay. Settle? Yes, settle for the u prime v. Then plus by v prime. Now your v here is sine y. So sine y, if you differentiate sine y, you're going to get cosine y. Okay, because you are differentiate with respect to x, what you are doing, you will differentiate the cosine y, which is a variable y, so you need to multiply by dy over by dx. So settle for the spread. Then multiply by the u here is x. Right, settle. So you settle for x multiplied by sine y. Now, the second term, you're going to have y cosine 2x. Again, this is a product of y and cosine 2x. You have to use the product rule. So minus by. Now put a big bracket. Okay. So differentiate y for u prime. You're going to have dy over by dx. Now, the second one would be v here is cosine 2x. Just write it back, cosine 2x. Plus by, differentiate cosine 2x will give you, now this one you have to be very careful because this is a chain rule. You have the outer function cosine and the inner function of 2x. So differentiate cosine will give you negative sine of your inner function 2x. Close bracket. Now differentiate your inner of 2x will give you 2. So you settle? No, this part is only for v prime. Then you have to multiply by the u, which is y. Now just write it back. So you have to multiply by the y. Close the whole thing. Alright, now I'm losing the space over here. Can I get a bit to that side? Okay. Then, the right hand side differentiate of 2x will just gonna give you equivalent to 2. Okay? Alright then, what you have to do next is you rearrange so that you get your dy over by dx. So, there are two terms of dy over by dx. Now, this is the first term. Okay, another term would be this. Now, what you can do is you factorize straight away. Also can. So, you're going to get dy over by dx. So, the first term will give you x cos y plus by, minus. So, minus by for this term will give you minus by cos 2x. Close the bracket. Now, the rest of the terms, which is a sine, this whole thing terms, alright, you can actually bring to the other side, which is equivalent to, now 2 minus by sine y. Now, if you simplify this a bit, you're going to get plus minus minus, bring to the other side, you're going to have plus, alright, so you will have 2y sine 2x. So, settle for simplifying. But have you made your dy dx as a subject? You can make your dy dx equivalent to, now it's just an algebra, so 2 minus by sine y plus by 2y sine 2x over by x cos y minus by cos 2x. So the question asking for when x equivalent to pi over by 2 and y equivalent to pi. So substitute every x with pi over by 2 and every y with pi. So you will have dy over by dx when the x is pi over by 2 and y equivalent to pi equivalent to 2 minus by sine pi plus by 2 pi sine 2 multiplied by pi over by 2 over by, this would be x is pi over by 2 multiplied by cos pi minus by cos 2 multiplied by pi over by 2. Right, now what you have to do is simplify. So you will have 2 minus by sine pi will give you 0. Okay, now if you simplify this 2 and 2, you will get sine pi. Again, it will give you 0. So this will give you 0. Multiply 0 with anything, you will get 0. So this one will be plus 0. Alright, over by the whole thing will be pi over by 2. Now cosine pi will give you negative 1. Minus by, if you simplify this, cosine pi again will give you negative 1. Then this is nothing more. You just have to simplify. You're going to get your answer equivalent to 2 minus 0 plus 0 will give you 2 over by, now this thing, negative pi over by 2 plus by 1. So you just can leave it your answer as 1 minus by pi over by 2. Or you can simplify a bit, make it nicer. You're going to get, this will give you 2 over by 2 minus by pi over by 2. Alright, so this 2 simplify some more, you will have this equivalent to 4 over by 2 minus by pi. So it's much nicer. Alright, that's all.